Shall we start? Yeah. Jananim Sharadam Devi Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmu Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Dear devotees, I think some of you might have some questions about the previous verse, 6th verse. So I will try to explain in a layman's language. If you remember, there are the Drik Drishya Viveka text is speaking about 3 types of seers. The seer 1 is sense organs. The seer 2 is mind. And the seer 3 is what self or witness. And that seer can be also replaced by the word knower. Knower 1 is what sense organs. Knower 2 is called mind. Knower 3 is self or witness or sakshi. After explaining these 3 things, now the question will come. The seer 3 is only conscious entity. And the other 2 are insentient, mind as well as sense organs. When it is insentient, how it can work then? But our day-to-day experiences, mind is not insentient, mind is ever active. Mind has got so strong, so turbulent. We all feel difficulty to control it. And there is a time-bound and age-old question, how to control the mind, how to regulate the mind. Similarly, feelings, thoughts, emotions, they have got tremendous power, turbulent power. When it is channelized, okay, otherwise it has got a lot of problems and etc. So this is a fact. When you think about it, then we feel that means it has got a sentiency. It has got power, it has got energy, it is living. But Advaita Vedanta is saying the self alone is conscious, everything is unconscious or insentient. So the Advaita's principles and our day-to-day experience, there is no match. So according to them, the seer 2 mind and the seer 3 or seer 1 and seer 2, that is mind and sense organs are also insentient. If so, then how are they acting? Now, for example, I am giving a talk on Drik Drishya Viveka. You are all hearing. So your sense organs are working and it is sending the information to the mind. Mind is processing it and you are able to understand what I am speaking. All this so much subtle and so much complicated process are involved. And how can you say that it is insentient? It is not so. So this question may come. For this question, in the 6th verse, the author answered. The example can be taken, if you remember, sun, moon, and the earth. Sun is self-luminous. How, according to the science, we all know that the hydrogen is converting into helium and that whatever in that process, it is giving tremendous amount of heat and that heat is converted into light energy for all of us. We all know that. Then what about moon? Moon is not self-luminous. We all know that. Then moon gets the light from the sun. It borrows the light from the sun. But in full moon day, if you see, the moon is ever shining. Of course, whenever we see, moon is always shining, no doubt. But on the full moon day especially, it is fully shining. And not only that, it is transmitting the light to the earth also. With the help of the light, moonlight, we can see things. We can have a moonlight dinner, we talk and we try to probably play in the water, we try to move on, we enjoy the moonlight. Now, when we are enjoying the moonlight, with the help of the moonlight, to a certain extent, we can see the things in and around because of the help of moonlight. So the earth is getting illuminated, the earthen objects or the objects of earth, we are able to know through the moonlight. But is that moonlight, whatever it is emitting to the earth, is it its own light? We know no. But it is emitting the light, it is so with full of luminosity. Then what does it mean? Then how do you account for it? We all know that it has borrowed the light from the sun. So similarly, the mind is active. The mind is so active, hyperactive. In a minute, thousands of thoughts are coming and going. And you say, Swamiji, mind is also insentient. How it is possible? So then the author says, yes, it is just like a moon. Moon is so bright. It has got so much light, we feel, but it has got borrowed light from the sun. So similarly, whatever the activity of the mind you see, that's all because of it has borrowed the consciousness or energy from the self, and that's how mind is active. Just compare the sun with the self or the seer and the moon with the mind. And now Earth is also getting light from the moon, and we are able to see the objects. So similarly, the sense organs are getting light. Sense organs are getting energy from the mind. It is drawing the energy from the mind, and that's why sense objects are active. So why the mind, how the mind and sense objects are active has been explained here. And one more technical point is differentiating the mind into two things. One is, the moon is getting the light or energy from the sun. When it is getting the energy or light from the sun, the moon, there are two things are happening. One is moon is getting illuminated. The first and foremost is moon is getting illuminated. The second thing is moon is also illuminating the earth planet. Two things are happening. When the moon borrows the light from the sun, moon is getting illuminated, it is getting illuminated first. The second is it is throwing the light, or the earth is borrowing the light, or the moon is lighting the earth to a certain extent. So similarly, when the mind gets the energy from the self, what happens? The mind gets illuminated first and foremost, and at the same time, the mind sends energy, light for the sense objects also. So this is what we have to understand. So here, that is reflection, just like the reflection of the energy of the sun is fallen on the moon. So similarly, whatever the energy has been drawn from the self to the mind is called Chaya Pravesha. Technically, in the 6th verse, they have used the word. Chaya Pravesha means what? It is called in Sanskrit Pratibimba Chaitanya or Abhasa Chaitanya. In a simple way, in English term, if you want me to use, it is nothing but reflected consciousness. Now again, this Abhasa Chaitanya, Chaya Pravesha, Pratibimba Chaitanya, reflected consciousness, what does it mean? Sometimes people may not be able to understand. Just I will give one more example, then you will understand, because this reflected consciousness you have to understand. Next 2-3 verses are depending on this only. Now, you are standing in front of a mirror. You are looking yourself and you are combing, or of course, I don't have hairs, I cannot comb, but whoever got hairs, they can comb, and especially people, they stand and they apply snow powder and they make perfectly beautiful, added beauty they will try to add so that they can go out as a beautiful person. When he or she is standing in front of the mirror, his or her image is reflected in the mirror. A person is standing in front of a mirror, so a person who is standing in front of the mirror can be considered as a witness, Sakshi, Chaitanya, and the mirror, a person is looking into the mirror. The mirror can be compared here as a mind. Okay, and the person's image has been reflected in the mirror. So there's a reflection image, a reflected image of a person. When I stand in front of a mirror, the mirror is nothing but mind. In the mirror, I am able to see my reflection, or anyone is able to see the reflection. So the reflected image of a person is called a reflected consciousness here. So the Atman or Sakshi or Chaitanya is self-luminous. So it illumines everything, whatever is there in and around. So the mind is very nearer. The nearest object to the self is what? Mind. So mind is getting illuminated. And in the illuminated mind, the reflection of the self or Sakshi has been formed in the mind. That is called reflected consciousness. That is called Chaya Pravesha or Abhasa Chaitanya. Chaitanya, we know. Abhasa. Abhasa means it is just like, it is a wrong notion actually. It is feeling, but it is not right actually. Or Pratibimba Chaitanya. Again, Pratibimba Chaitanya means reflected consciousness. I hope now, I think you have understood what is reflected consciousness or what is Chaya Pravesha. So now this, if you happen, now the author has introduced two more technical points there, or technical words. One is Ahankruti and the other is Antakarna. Now what is Antakarna, if you ask, in generally in Vedantic language, which consists of Mana, Chitta, Buddhi, Ahankara, we all know that. In Aproksha, Anubhuti, Tattvabodha, whoever has studied will be knowing that. So here Antakarna, it means different. So that's why these are called Paribhashika Shabdas, technical words. It has got definite meanings with the definite text, so that we should not get confused. So here, the author is telling, for the sake of understanding, he is dividing the mind into two parts. Now, I will give an example and I will come to this technical. And also I gave the example previous time also, if you remember. Now there is a water. You went to the shore of the ocean, and I think now cyclone has affected west and I think southwest coast of the India. That's what news says. If you go to the shore, Arabian seaside, there's a huge waves. Fine. Probably before a depression or before the cyclone happening, what you usually see, the huge mass of water, and there are ripples called waves. Now the water is the substance, water is the content, or water is the substance of the ocean. Dravya, or the substance, or the content of the ocean is what? Water. So that is what called here technically Aham Krutihi. Means the content portion of the substance portion of the mind, the author is calling is Aham Kruti. So what in the ocean, the substance portion of the ocean is what? Water. Here, what is the substance portion of the mind, if you ask? If you remember again Tattvabodha, you should be able to remember that Sattvika portion of the Panchabhutas. From the Sattvika Amsha of the Panchabhutas, mind has been formed. If you remember that Panchikarna theory of Tattvabodha. Okay. So now what is there? The material part, substance part of the ocean we understood. Now the ocean also has got different waves, small, big, or whatever. So the manifestation of the ocean is what? Through the waves. So similarly, the function of the mind or the manifestation of the mind is happening how? Through vrittis, through thoughts. How do I understand that I have got a mind? Because I have got thoughts. In a coma state, do you think that person understands that he has got a mind? May not be difficult. Why? Because he is not conscious of it. There are no thoughts. Since we have got thoughts, so many thoughts, good or bad, right or wrong, whatever it may be, thoughts are going on, thoughts are forming in our mind every moment, consciously or unconsciously. That's why we know that we have got mind. So this thoughts or vrittis is the functional aspect of the mind according to the author. So the thoughts or vrittis, which are the part of the mind, which are the functional part of the mind, here author is using technical name called Antakarna. So what does he mean that when the mind perceives an object through sense organs, how does the perception happen? He says that the mind through thoughts, through vrittis, it enters sense organs. Through sense organs, it enters the world, or it covers the sense object, and it tries to understand what it is, and it comes back through sense organs, and it forms, or it presents in front of the brain or the mind. So the mind processes the information and it gives its decision. Okay, this is a cake. This is a chocolate. This is a paper. This is a John whom I met 3 years before. So aham kruti and antakarna. Aham kruti is what? The material portion, the substance portion of the mind. And the antakarna is the functional part of the mind. So the ocean and the waves. So similarly, the mind and its functional part called vrittis. So that is nothing but aham kruti and antakarna. So I think by this time you might have understood what. So 3 things. One is chaya pravesha, reflected consciousness, which is very important you have to understand. Then other 2 things, aham kruti, the material portion, the substance portion of the mind. Then antakarna. Antakarna means here thoughts or vrittis which belongs to mind. Functional aspect of the mind also you can think.
Swamiji, if I may ask a question.
Yeah, please.
The antakarna then is not material?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So
it is just the function. It is not the material.
It is only function he is saying that. He doesn't go to that discussion. He only means that it is a functional aspect of the mind called vrittis. Okay. Now it is like sun and sunlight. Sun and sunlight. That's all. If sunlight is matter or what? Yes. So similarly here also. Yes. So for this, I gave an example of Dakshinamurti Stotra, verse number 4, if you remember. I think I can go for the 7th verse. Yeah, thank you. Now, the author after explaining the what is mind. So he is telling that what is mind? It is reflecting medium. Remember the mirror. In the mirror, we can see our image. So similarly, the mind is the reflecting medium, which is very close, which is in the proximity of the self. The first, any substance, if it is near self, it is what? Mind, reflecting image or reflecting medium. That's why there's a reflected image here. So the reflected consciousness. The reflected consciousness is called chaya pravesha. Reflecting medium is called manas. And manas has got 2 things. One is ahankruti. Ahankruti is the substance portion of the matter of the mind, and antakarna, the functional aspect of the mind. So he has invariably or more or less, he has described, the author has described what is mind or what is the nature of CR2, how is it formed, how is it functioning. This is what he has told. Now the question may come for all of us. Okay, what is mind? You told it is a reflecting medium, you told, and the self's image has been reflected. There is a reflection of consciousness. That's why it becomes active, and it also sends the energy to the sense organs. And it has got 2 parts. One is substance part, the other is functional part. You told all fine. But what is the connection between the mind and the reflected consciousness? And how strong and close this connection is? This is a wonderful question. So these are all very subtle points. When you go deep, only you will get these questions. It is just like, okay, I'm standing in front of a mirror. My image has been reflected in the mirror. So what is the connection between me and the mirror? 1 point. And what is the connection between the mirror and the reflection of my image? So here the author is trying to analyze what is the connection between the mirror and the reflected image of myself. That is what the author is trying to discuss or explain in the verse 7. Now the question may come with this example. What is there, Samji, to understand? When I'm standing in front of mirror, my reflection has been formed. And what can be the connection between the mirror and the reflection of image, reflected image? Yes, in the lay example, it may not be, but when it comes to mind, it matters a lot. So we have to think deeply, then only we'll understand the value of this thinking or thought process. So let us try to understand. Chaya ahankara yoraikam taptaya pindavanmatam tadahankara tadatmyad dehas chetanatam agat. Means dehas chetanatam agat. In the opinion of the wise people, the identity of the reflection of consciousness, that's what reflected consciousness, and of ego is like the identity of the fire and the heated iron ball. The body have been identified with the ego passes for a conscious entity. So this last sentence is very important. The body having been identified with the ego passes for a conscious entity. So before going to this technical portion, I would like to give an example. Now, a child, he doesn't know, the child doesn't know, he or she, the child doesn't know how the mirror works. Unfortunately, father got a new mirror and he has hanged on the wall. There was some deficiency, there was some problem in the manufacture of the mirror. Just he has hung and he probably the father has not, he didn't have time or because of some emergency, he didn't see the image, his own image, just he hanged on the wall and he went away. He didn't give much notice. Now the child who doesn't know how the mirror works, it came because it was out of inquisitiveness. It's new mirror has come, a father has bought a new mirror, saying that it went and it stood in front of mirror. Because of some manufacturing defect in the mirror, when the child went and stood in front of the mirror, he was looking very bulky. Or he was looking something, his face has got distorted. Immediately the child thought, oh my God, I become so fat, or my face has become bulky. Immediately crying, it went to the mother. Mother, so there's some problem in me. Why, my dear child? I become so stout or bulky and my face has been disfigured. Please, we should immediately, there's a medical emergency. We should go to the hospital and we should get it sorted out. Mother says, my dear, fine, wait 1 minute. Who told that you have become stout or bulky, and who told that your face has become disfigured? No, I know that. Okay, be calm, be cool. Please answer me. No answer. Please go. Let us go for hospital. Mother laughs and, my dear, please answer me. Who told you that you have become stout or bulky, and who told that your face is disfigured? I know that, I have experienced it. I saw it. Okay, thank you. Last question. Where did you see? How did you know? Oh my God. So many questions you are asking instead of going to hospital. Okay, I will go. No, please answer this last question. The mirror, the father has got the new mirror, and I saw in that mirror, and I saw that I become bulky and stout and my face has been disfigured. Oh, okay. The problem is in the mirror, not in the you. Okay. Then she comes and she says, she also experienced same. Then mother says, look, I am also become stout and my face also disfigured, isn't it? The son or the daughter, the child says, yes. And come now. So they came away from the mirror and see that. Now you see my face. This face is disfigured? No. Have I become bulky or stout? No. But what are you seeing in the mirror? I am disfigured and the bulky. Means there is a problem in the mirror, not in my face, not in the body. So similarly, the problem is not in your face, on your face or in your body. It is the problem in the mirror. So my dear, don't get terrified. We shall take your father into task. Why did he bring such a mirror? So this is what we experience. The same thing happens. The mind is what reflected image. I mean, reflection of the medium, reflected medium. Since if the mirror is good, my reflection will be good. And if mirror is bad, the reflection of my image is also bad. So that's what happens in the mirror. The same thing, if my mind is polluted, then I'll be thinking all wrong thoughts, bad thoughts, evil thoughts. If my mind is pure, if my mind is good, if my mind is healthy, then I've got strength, I can do things, I think always positively, and I can do many things. So the necessity of morality, the necessity of ethics, the Swami Vivekananda tells that, what is religion? Be good, do good, see good. This is the whole of religion, Swami Vivekananda says. So what is the necessity of all these things has been explained. I mean, this is a corollary. When you think deeply about this verse, though there is nothing has been told in the verse directly, when you think deeply about this verse, you'll be able to understand. Now, probably you'll be able to understand, or you will be able to conceive why it is important that what is the relationship between the reflected medium and the reflection of the image or reflected image. If the reflected medium is good, reflection of the image is also will be good. If the reflection of the medium or reflected medium is wrong, problem, then the reflection of the image is also problem or distorted. And what is the connection between the reflection of the image and reflection of the medium? Reflected image and reflection of the medium, if you say, the author says that it is nothing but, it is like hot iron and the hotness or the redness in the hot iron. Means both cannot be separated physically. So similarly, in the mind and the mind reflected medium and the reflection of the image, both cannot be separated physically. So both are one side. Both are go together. Physical separation cannot be possible. Only intellectual separation has to be done. So we will try to understand. So in the first loka, if you see, the sense organs and mind are also described as seers, seer 1 and seer 2. But afterwards, the author told that the self or Sakshi alone is conscious, conscience or consciousness, it has got all others are, including mind and sense organs, objects, everything is insentient. Then the doubt will come to a person or to the seeker that how the cognition happens, how this knowledge process happens, how do I perceive, how do I understand, how the knowledge is happening, knowledge takes place in my mind or in brain. So all these doubts we do get. So for this doubt, the answer has been given in the verse 7. So he says, the whole of the purport of this verse is what? Though the mind and the sense organs are insentient, no doubt, but because of on account of the presence of the Sakshi, witness, and precisely because of on account of the reflection of consciousness in the reflected medium called mind, all this process of perception or the knowledge or the cognition, everything happens. That is what author is trying to tell. So physically, there is inseparable relationship. There is an inseparable relationship exists between the reflected medium and the reflected image or the reflection of consciousness. So this is what we have to understand. As a result, what happens? The reflection of consciousness has been formed in the reflected image, and that makes our cognition, our understanding, perception, knowing things, etc., etc. As a corollary, as a byproduct, as a reaction, our senses, our body, everything becomes active. That is what the corollary of it. So this we have to understand. So when we also understand the individual person has made of these 3 seers, we have to understand here. One more important thing. If you see Panchakosha Viveka, self has got 5 sheets. In Avasthatra Vichara, we have got 3 states of existence. So these are prakriyas, these are thinking to understand the self. So here the author has taken 3 types of seers. Seer 1, for an example, I am seeing a blue moon, or I am seeing a blue moon. We know what is blue moon. Or say, I am seeing a white rose. I am perceiving white rose. That means I refers to sense organs actually there. My sense organs are perceiving actually. I am perceiving rose means I refers to sense organs. So that is seer 1. When I say that, I am aware that I am happy. I am aware that I am unhappy. I am aware that my mind is calm. I am calm. My mind is calm. Oh no, my mind is turbulent, restless. So there, I refers to mind. Second thing. Then the third is, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Nitya Shuddha Buddha, Mukta Atmaham. So there I refers to Sakshi or Chaitanya. But unfortunately, these 3 eyes, one is sense organs, the other is mind, the third is Sakshi or Chaitanya or consciousness. The 3 are mixed up, and that's why all suffering. That's why we are taking again and again birth and death. We are in the cycle of birth and death. So now all this Drik Drishya Viveka, the inquiry into seer and seen, is making us to understand that I am seer 3 and don't get mixed up with seer 2 and seer 1. So this is what the main intention of the author. So that's why he's making us to understand, making us to undergo all this mental process. Now the question may come, can we physically separate seer 1 and 2 from seer 3? Or seer 1, seer 2, seer 3, can it be physically separated? If you ask, no, it is not in our hands. No. Then what is this renunciation, or what is this moksha? Then what is this emancipation? Then why do we need it? Then why should we struggle for it if the separation is not possible? Yes, the separation, physical separation is not possible, but intellectual separation, mental separation is possible. Through knowledge, one can destroy the ignorance. So why should we study Vedanta? To remove the misconception, to remove the superimposition, to correct the wrong notion. So to correct the wrong notion, right knowledge is the only way, it is the possible way. That's why we are trying to study the Drik Drishya Viveka. So that's what we have to understand. So here, the author, the 7th verse, the author told that mind is the reflection of consciousness is fallen on the mind, which is called reflecting medium. That's why mind became active, and mind is processing all its activities, and also mind is sending his energy, a part of energy, to the sense objects. That's why sense organs have become active and we are able to perceive the world. Now again, if you think deeply, we'll be able to understand in the dead body why we can say that Vedanta says that even in the dead body self exists. I think in many times I have given, even in India, the old people, or even say so-called illiterate people, they say, Pran chala gaya, prana hoitu, or the prana hoitante. See, this prana belongs to subtle body actually. Sukshma sharira and all, they don't understand. So even in layman's language, they are using. The prana is the part of subtle body. If you remember my Tattvabodha class. The sense organs are part of subtle body. The mind, which is nothing but a sense organ, it is also part of subtle body. That means in the death, what happens? The subtle body departs from the physical body. That's why even though there is a self, the physical body is not aware of the presence of existence of the self. That's why the physical body gets numb, physical body is not active, physical body becomes cold, there is no activities, including mechanical actions called blood circulation, breathing, everything. Why? Because there is no subtle body there, means there is no mind reflection of image. Now you'll be able to understand how important here is the reflection of the medium, which is called mind. Because since there is no mind, that's why it is not able to give any energy, power for the body. And that's why it became absolutely inactive and useless. That means the mind is drawing energy from the self and it is giving energy for the sense organs. That's why this physical body can be active. When the subtle body departs from this physical body, even though self exists in the inside and outside the physical body becomes inactive and it starts disintegrating. So death means what? Only the departure of the subtle body. So if you remember Bhagavad Gita, Vasansi jirnani yata vihaya navani grunhati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnan anyani sayyati navani dehi. The embodied being, just every day we change clothes. Or when we become the clothes old, we throw away these clothes and we wear a new clothes. So similarly, embodied being wears new cloth called physical body. When it becomes old, it leaves and it takes we wear new clothes, it also wears new body. So death means what? The subtle body leaves the physical body and it enters the mother's womb or the new physical body. The self never travels from one body to another. So again, this conception has to be very clear. So only subtle body leaves the physical body or gross body. That is what? Death. Now, what is the identification of the ego? Now, how this reflection of the reflected image has been formed in the reflection medium has been understood, and what is the nature or what is the connection between the reflected medium and reflected image has been understood, and what are the pros and cons of it has been understood in the 8th verse. Let us try to understand. So now there is a description of the identification of the ego with the different entities. But again, it is some technical things are involved here. It needs little patience and little more thinking and contemplating. If you understand that, then you'll be able to enjoy it more. Ahankarasya tadatmyam chichaya deha sakshivihi sahajam karmajam brantijanyancha trividam kramat. 3, again, technical things the author is bringing here. The identification of the ego with the reflection of consciousness, the body, and the witness are of 3 kinds, namely natural, due to past karma, and due to ignorance, respectively. Anyhow, I will try to understand. I will try to tell in a layman's language. Probably it will be able to understand. So now the author is trying to explain 3 components or 3 parts or 3 items. What is that? The relationship between the mind and the physical body. The connection between the mind and the physical body, how it happens. The connection between the mind and physical body, what it is, how it happens. First point, what are the contributing factor for this physical body, or what is the contributing factor for our birth? He's telling. The other is the connection between the mind and the reflected consciousness. Mind is reflecting medium and the reflection of the consciousness, reflected image. So what is the connection between the reflection of the image and the medium? That is what the second is telling. And the third is, what is the connection between the mind and the original consciousness? What is original consciousness? Sakshi, Chaitanya, self. What is reflection of consciousness? Reflection of the object, reflected image. So this we have to understand here. So original consciousness means Sakshi, Shuddha Chaitanya, awareness, witness. Reflected consciousness means the reflection of the consciousness in the mind is what reflection of consciousness or reflected consciousness. So this, I think by this time you have understood. Now we shall try to understand. Now, Chichaya, one more technical word we have to understand here. So what is Seer 1? If you see, Seer 1 is sense organs, Seer 2 mind, Seer 3 was Sakshi, if you remember. The Seer 3 is what called here original consciousness. And the Seer 2 is what mind, that is called reflected image, and which has got the consciousness or the reflection is called reflected consciousness, RC. Okay, now when the image of the consciousness is fallen or formed in the mind, that is called Chichaya. Chaya means image. Image of what? The image is called Chit. The image of the Chit. Chit means again here conscious, Sat Chitananda, the reflected consciousness. So that's you have to understand. If you feel difficulty, you should understand sun, moon, and the earth. Sun is called Seer 3, original consciousness. Moon, reflecting medium, or mind, or Seer number 2. And the Seer 1 is sense objects, or the earth. There you can remember. Now, if you remember, Seer 2 is responsible. Seer 2 is responsible for making Seer 1 sentient. What is Seer 1? Sense organs. So the body and sense organs are becoming sentient because of the mind. If there is no mind, then there cannot be body and sense organs cannot be sentient at all. So the self cannot give the energy to the body and mind, to the body and sense organs directly. You have to understand. The body and sense organs receive the consciousness from the mind, and that's how they become active. And the mind gets the consciousness or energy from where? The powerhouse is the self. So this you have to understand. Now, the author is trying to tell the connection between the mind and the physical body or gross body is because of due to prarabdha karma. Why I am taking again and again birth, and why I am undergoing all the experiences and death and again birth and death, because of the results of my past actions. So, which is subtle body and gross body, why they are taking again and again birth. Subtle body is continuous, physical body changes in every birth, no doubt. Why it is happening? What is the contributing factor there? If you ask, the author is telling that because of the prarabdha karma. And now, what is the connection between the mind and reflected consciousness? Pratibimba madhyama, pratibimba chaitanya, if you want me to tell in Sanskrit. I mean, reflecting medium and reflection of the image. What is the connection between? If you ask, the author tells that it is quite natural. He tells just it is a natural. Why? Because when I stand in front of a mirror, the reflection of my image falls on the mirror. So it is natural. So the connection between the mirror and my reflection of the image is natural there. And it survives till the death. Till I am standing in front of the mirror, my reflection of the image is fallen. So similarly, till the moksha or mukti, this reflection, the connection between the reflecting medium, reflection consciousness, it survives till moksha or mukti, till realization. Now, and what is the link between the mind and the original consciousness? If you ask, he says that there is no actually connection, but only because of ignorance, the mind is thinking that I have got a consciousness or I have got a connection between the me and Sakshi. Just like I gave an example of the child. Child stood in front of the mirror. There was no problem in him, in the child. There was a problem in the mirror, but it superimposed the problems in himself and the child started crying. So similarly, the Sakshi or Chaitanya doesn't have any problem. But because the reflection of the consciousness, reflection of the Sakshi has fallen in the medium called Manas, Manas has got problem, Manas has been polluted, Manas has got impurities. Because of that, mind is making to think that Sakshi has got a problem. So because of the ignorance, I think that I am good, I am bad. I am right, I am wrong. I am bound and I am liberating. I should get liberated. I should try to liberate. I should seek for liberation and I should make an attempt for liberation. That is what happening. It is because of ignorance. But in reality, there is no link. Why? Because mind is object and the seer, three, Sakshi, is what? Subject. And some more, I think, explanation is required for this. We'll try to tell. Just I've introduced this particular verse. I will try to discuss a little more in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.